Okay. Right.
We have to wait for the gentleman.
Okay. Not a problem. I'll try to figure this out. It'll come to me.
I want to continue discussing your assignment on the night of August 25th, 2021. Excuse me, before we took a break. 2020, thank you.
Yep.
Before we took a break, you were talking about going on the internet and downloading some videos, and we're going to get back to that in a second, but I want to go back to the evening of early morning hours into the next day of August 25th, August 26th of 2020. Did there come a time in which you learned the identity of the person who had shot people that night?
Yes.
How did that come to be?
There was information on social media, and also we received information that the person had turned themselves in at the Antioch Police Department.
Prior to the defendant turning himself in at the Antioch Police Department, did you have information identifying him as the individual who shot and killed two people that night?
There were pictures circulating on social media.
Were you able to see or figure out the identity of the person in those pictures?
Early on in the investigation, I recall seeing a picture, but I do not recall knowing the identity of the person immediately.
Did there, after the defendant turned himself in to the Antioch Police Department, did you go down there in person?
Yes.
And did you have face-to-face contact with the defendant?
Yes.
Did the defendant indicate to you that he had suffered some injuries that night?
Yes.
Did you take photographs and document those injuries?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury about those injuries?
He had an approximately half-inch scratch above his left eyebrow. He had a small cut on the inside of his lower lip, slightly offset to the right. There is a approximately 2-inch scratch below his left collarbone. There was some redness to the right side of his belly button, just above his waistline. There was an approximate 2-inch scratch on his left forearm. There was some redness on his right forearm. There was some redness on the tip of his right thumb. And on his back, there was a scratch somewhere on his left side, about the where the left shoulder blade would be, in that approximate area. And also there were 2 bumps on the back of his head that was approximately here, so above the left ear. Both of those injuries on his head, I could not get to turn up in the photograph because Mr. Rittenhouse has very thick hair. But with the gloved hand, I was able to feel it. And both of these bumps I would approximate to be the size of a penny. And the skin was slightly raised, and I was able to feel that with my hands.
Was that the extent of the injuries that the defendant reported to you?
Yes.
Now, I know you talked about getting some videos off the internet. Was there a time in which you also collected some physical evidence from the scene of the shootings?
Yes, at 63rd Street and Sheridan Road, yes.
And can you tell us about that?
That was on August 29th. We had a citizen by the name of James Powarczyk. I might have gotten his last name a little bit off, but I think there were 2 W's in there. I think it was Powarczyk. We got a report from that the citizen came to check out the area of where this had happened, and he located 2 shell casings underneath a silver Chevy Cruze in the car source parking lot.
Karen, that last name is Piwowarczyk. After receiving this report, did you go to that scene to check out these shell casings?
Yes.
Did you recover those shell casings?
Yes.
And what were they specifically?
They were 2 Aguila 223 REM shell casings, and the location of where they were located, the silver Chevy Cruze was right in the area of what I had seen on the videos of where the shooting of Joseph Rosenbaum had taken place.
Thank you. Now, you mentioned earlier that as part of your investigation, you searched social media, the internet, etc., to gather videos of this particular night. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to go through some of those videos now in your testimony. Let me turn the TVs on. Does that work for everybody? Is that not a good angle for you, sir? How does that work over there? Is that okay? Thank you.
Well, the problem is, once again, that I have to ensure that the defendant can see it.
He'll have it on his TV.
Oh, fair enough. Thank you.
The first video that I'm going to show is on our... Oh, I hit the button. I apologize. This is a video which is on our list as exhibit number 18. And this is a video from a news source called The Rundown Live. So if we could begin this, begin playing this at the very start, please.
Kristan T. Harris here at the Rundown Live, and I'm here with a bunch of militia. They're protecting a local car shop across the street. I saw yesterday as this one, there's video of it on YouTube, of this one burned. And we have that fire and people are hitting it with bats and a whole bunch of other things.
I have an objection to this audio being played and the editorialization. I don't have a problem with the video being played.
I think we've agreed to the authenticity of it. I think that the individual who recorded this is available to be subpoenaed if necessary.
Well,
I don't think it's...
There's a rule of confrontation.
May we approach, Your Honor? I don't want to continue this in the presence of the jury.
Well, start there. Start from that position and we'll see. This is a confrontation issue.
May we approach, Your Honor? I'm sorry. It's
No, because it's be something that has to be a record, and I'll have to send the jury.
It's
on
not, I don't believe it's a confrontation issue, Your Honor, because we're going to be here, we've already heard audio from other witnesses, and we're going to hear more.
There was not an objection. I can tell you. If there's descriptive material, then he's entitled to confront the speaker.
There's not descriptive material of the defendant, Your Honor. This is not a confrontation issue.
You've heard it before?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's editorialization.
He's already made statements, assertions of fact.
He just made one.
He did.
Okay. Okay, we can play it without the audio. There will be times in which we will have audio of interactions with the defendant, where he makes
That
statements.
Defendant's statements are invisible.
All right, I'll do my best to alert you when those occur. So let's play without sound for now.
When I studied evidence last century, the evidence textbook, which was probably about this thick, about a quarter of it was dealt with the hearsay rule. You hear the word hearsay all the time, and the section on the hearsay rule began, there is nothing murkier in the law of evidence than the hearsay rule. And I can tell you from 50 years of experience that that is accurate. It is a rule that has many, many exclusions, and it has many, many exceptions. So some things that may seem to the untrained ear to be hearsay are not, and some things that don't seem like it are. Basically, the rule is that a statement of a non-testifying person cannot be offered to prove the truth of the matter which is asserted in the statement. The rule, this is something we actually referred to on the first day when I talked about what's introduced in evidence has to be under oath. It has to be subject to cross-examination. And that's not true of statements that are made by somebody who's not here while testifying as a witness. He's not here on the stand, he's not under oath, and he's not subject to cross-examination. So this person who's describing this is carrying on a discussion that you or I might have if it didn't require the strict rules that we have in the courts, perfectly, ordinary conversation. But when it gets into court, and this is actually referred to in the Bible, St. Paul, when he was put on trial, in this is, I think it's Caesarea. Well, it was over in Palestine, in Israel. He was accused of some activity, and he was a Roman citizen, which was not common, but he happened to have been a Roman citizen, and so he had rights that we share now as Americans. And when they tried to put him on trial with evidence from which was being repeated by somebody who wasn't there and under oath, he said, "Where are the witnesses against me? I am a Roman, and I have a right to confront my accusers. They should be here." And so that led to actually his voyage to Rome to have his case heard before the emperor. So it's an ancient rule. It's strictly enforced in the criminal courts for very obvious reasons. So that's what we're talking about here. And so if the person who's making this descriptive material is here and can be put under oath and cross-examined, then it's admissible. But otherwise, it is not admissible through the officer here. You can play the video. And now, one of the exclusions from the operation of the rule, there was reference here to there were apparently statements, the state claims were made by the accused. There's an exclusion. That is not hearsay. A statement made by a party opponent is not hearsay. So he's entitled, the district attorney is entitled to have the sound up during those if they are statements of the defendant himself. So, go ahead.
All right, we'll continue the video without sound. There will be a moment in which, shortly, where we'll turn the sound back on. But for now, we'll just play without sound. for a second there. Detective Howard, have you had an opportunity to watch the video we've been playing so far?
Yes.
Okay. May I set up that easel again, Your Honor?
Sure.
Thank you. Detective Howard, based on what you've seen in the video thus far, are you able to identify the location of where this video is being taken?
Yes, the videographer at this point in time is on the southwest corner of Sheridan Road and 59th Street. It looks like he's in the Car Source parking lot. I'd say about there. The viewpoint of the video is pointing north towards St. James Church.
And we've already heard some testimony about the fact that St. James Church on our map looks like it's got a structure there, but in the video it's changed. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, St. James Church at this time and a little bit prior to these incidents was going through a demolition.
Okay. Thank you. Please.
Well, the former school building.
Yeah. Yeah, the school building.
Not the church.
Correct.
Let's continue the video, please. Let's pause 1 second here, and can we turn the sound back on? I think everybody's in agreement. That is the defendant, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So let's turn the sound back on briefly for this section, please.
We're live, got the rundown live. And as you can see, there. Do you have a good angle? Yeah, very cool. And you guys local or no? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I'm Kyle, by the way.
No, we'll do this.
Coronavirus.
Oh, dude, I'm not afraid of no coronavirus.
Yeah.
In fact, my shirt underneath it says I survived the coronavirus. There you go. Yeah, it's very possible. Was that?
I'd be safe. It's dangerous.
Oh, bro. Believe it or not, I've been doing this for about 12 years, so
Shit, how old are you?
41.
Christ.
And, you know, if you guys see me get hit with something, I'm knocked out, that's when I need help.
Yep.
Or if it looks like somebody's going to beat me at the club, then I need help. Other than that, I can...
We'll be there to help.
Non-aggression principle. You know, I don't want anyone hurt. They have medics too, and their medics are pretty helpful, even though they might be on the other side, if that makes sense. But they'll help me, okay?
We got medics too.
Okay, cool.
So we got you after.
So, are you guys? Do you guys mind?
We'll turn the sound off now, but continue the video. Thank you. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Let's go back a few seconds and turn the sound back on. There, let's continue with the sound at this moment for a little bit, please. Thank you.
They have medics too, and their medics are pretty helpful, even though they might be on the other side, if that makes sense. But they'll help me, okay?
We got medics too.
Okay, cool.
So we got you after.
So, are you guys? Do you guys mind? Is there a way up on the roof?
Yeah, there is, but you gotta go through the shop, and we really want no one else going through.
Okay, no, that's fair. I thought I'd ask and make for some cool footage. But we got militia members.
Let's turn the sound off now, please. Thank you. We pause the video for a second there. No dispute on okay. I'm going to use, may I use that sister, what's her name again? I'm sorry. Marciana. I always sort of say Marciana. I'm going to point out up on the roof there is Dominic Black. And there's not any dispute about this from the defense, so I just want to clarify for the jury. I'll do it on the screen here if I can. This individual here, which is the one with the lighter shirt on, is Dominic Black. No dispute on that? Okay. So that is Dominic Black up there on the roof. Thank you. Now, can we please skip forward to the 30-minute and 25-second mark? All right, let's continue. All right, thank you. Can we play from there? No sound at this moment, please. Pause for a second there. I don't think there's any dispute on both. For the jury's purposes, I'm just going to point out this individual that is going to be walking towards the camera is Ryan Balch. And then we just saw the defendant on a car that was leaning against a car that was off to the right of this. So he may come back into view again, but just wanted to point that out for the jury. Please continue. Can we stop 1 second, please? Can we go back to the point where the defendant comes into view and turn the sound on, please? Right there, please. Pause and let's turn the sound on, please.
All right.
Hey, who's a fast runner?
Oh.
Run down
Yeah,
there,
don't instigate. Don't just stand there. They're not going to cause any problems. So we got the militia here.
Stop. Sorry. Turn the sound off, please. Thank you. All right, let's go to the 48-minute and 45-second mark, please. Okay, can we turn the sound on for this, please?
We talked to them a little earlier, and they've been pretty nice to me. They've kind of let me come and go. How you guys doing?
Hey, where you at?
The Rundown Live. So,
Got a reporter in the perimeter!
all right, they're saying I'm in the perimeter. They're making awareness that I'm here. All right, they're asking me to leave. And we got the militia here. They're trying to protect private property.
They should be, but it's fine.
They're trying to protect their property. Everyone got that right. Yeah, no shit. I don't disagree. That's
Hey,
the
they
care
aiming at
property.
us when we down there.
Oh, were they?
With the green laser.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. With the green laser.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
No, that's not cool. But I think a lot of them just are scared. So
Look at these pussies on the roof!
they're just trying to protect their property, bro. I agree with this guy. These guys just trying to protect their property up there. Yeah, they're just trying to protect their property.
Oh, yeah, I know, but they...
Like, if that was my house and I didn't know what was going on, I'd be, you know... Yeah.
Yeah, that's the fucked up part. I just assumed they were like some old riders.
No, I think one of them, they clicked the laser pointer, and they're probably somebody's trying to be a cocky
They
dick.
got the right to do that.
Yeah, I know, but it's still being a cocky dick, though, you know.
That's true.
Because those things are loaded. That's not for fun. That's not for fun. That's not painful. But they got, yeah. Back to my point, not all militias should have guns, because if they're pointing lasers at people from the roof, that's not cool either. So that's what caused it. So allegedly, the reason why they were upset is somebody pointed a green laser at them from the roof. So they, those are loaded guns, so people will think that.
De-escalation.
Yeah, it is a de-escalation, you know what
It's the same as the earlier objection. If he wants to play my client, that's fine, but this is editorialing.
I understand the objection. The problem is there are portions of this that don't have anything to do with the defendant that describe the scene, and I'm trying to give the jury
That's
a sense of the
hearsay.
scene.
It's hearsay.
I'm not introducing anyone's statements for the truth of the matter asserted. I'm introducing it for the state of mind of the defendant as he watches
If
the
it's
scene.
not for the truth of the matter asserted, it's irrelevant.
No, it goes to state of mind, Your Honor,
State of mind of
of the defendant. When he sees
someone else's. Would you do me a favor and step into the library for a minute? Please don't talk about the case while you're out of the room. Okay. First off, the Court of Appeals very strongly condemns sidebars, and we've used them for a number of purposes in this case, which I think everyone would agree have not touched anything which is an essential part of the case, and mainly have been management issues. But the Court of Appeals rightly wants to have a full record made, which cannot be made when we're having a little sidebar. So, and when you state your objections, then I've stated you have to state the objection here, or else I'll have to excuse the jury. And I think that was, we're going to get into this a little more deeply now. So I think we did the right thing to do that. And we'll try to keep it so that they're not inconvenienced too much just being in the library here. No, let me just test the stage here. I've talked about inaccurate things out on the media, and one of the things that I've read over and over and over again is about how I messed up the State against Jensen case, which is now pending downstairs. Actually, I had it 100% correct in the first place. I ruled that the disputed matter was testimonial evidence that had to be confronted, and your office appealed. This is 20 years ago, and it was fine. It was a big issue. It was a big case, and the state Supreme Court reversed and said, no, we're going to adopt a new rule that is to be applied in this case about waiver and forfeiture. And so it came back, and I said right in the record, this is going to get reversed again because it was an unsound ruling, unanimous. I hate to say that about the Supreme Court, but it's true. And of course, that has proved positive. So I tried the case according to the way the Supreme Court told me to try it, And that was 20 years ago. The man is still in prison. And the case has again been reversed because of the evidence that the Supreme Court told me to admit. I don't want to mess around with confrontation issues. I can't let you present evidence into this record, which is barred by the confrontation rule. And you're asking me to let this just run while this man is making descriptive materials to prove the state of mind of the accused? That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
First of all, Your Honor, nothing that's being said in this video can be construed as testimonial.
There was historical information that he was saying in the part that we did here.
It is not for testimonial purposes. He is not presenting it in anticipation of litigation. He's not giving it to law enforcement. It's not a report for the purposes of reporting a crime or for any pending legal action whatsoever.
Okay, let's not even talk about it as confrontation. Let's talk about it as hearsay.
Then it goes to the defendant's state of mind, because the defendant is witnessing everything that's going on in this video. He is witnessing what's going on in the crowd. He's witnessing the response. He's witnessing all of these statements that are being made. And it goes to his state of mind. It's a present sense impression. And the defendant's state of mind, as we've all agreed multiple times in this case, is critical to the case.
Your Honor, start at the beginning for where I came in. The state argues that we've been doing this. One, Mr. Elijah, who was giving the editorial comments in the first video, he was here to be questioned. In this case, this individual who's in charge of the audio-video feed is not under the state subpoena. He could be. If they chose to do that, they could have him here, and he could testify to his opinions, and we could cross-examine those. That would be acceptable. What Mr. Binger is saying is, my client is there, so he knows all this. There's no proof that what that individual is seeing, filming, and commenting on, my client is looking at it, seeing, or part of it. That's why that person needs to be here to testify. I have no problem with this detective testifying as to people, places, and things from this video. We stipulated that. I did not stipulate to the editorial comments. I have no objection. Obviously, there's no basis for it when they want to play statements of my client that are on video. That's not hearsay. But this and his statements regarding militia, things like that, that is hearsay.
So we've got two complaints here, or two objections. One is the confrontation clause. This is not testimonial. It doesn't even fall anywhere near testimonial. Therefore, confrontation clause, I don't believe, is a valid objection. When it comes to hearsay, Your Honor, we had a pretrial dispute regarding things that Joseph Rosenbaum did all night long that were not witnessed by the defendant. The defense argued that those things should come into evidence because they show the context, they show his character, they show propensity for violence, they set the scene here. And I argue to Your Honor that if the defendant didn't personally witness it, it shouldn't come in. That argument failed. You allow them to come in. We've heard in the opening statement a lot of things about Joseph Rosenbaum that I know personally, and the evidence I think will demonstrate that the defendant never witnessed that night. But they're going to come in to attack the character of a deceased individual. And I understand the Jackson ruling. I've read that decision. I understand all of that. The difference is, Your Honor, this is exactly what the defendant witnessed. He is right there. Now, counsel is asserting that the defendant isn't aware of what's going on at this scene. I don't know that. The defendant knows that. Well, he has the right to testify. I'm going to.
Wait a minute. You're right. He has the right to testify. He has no obligation to testify.
Absolutely not. But if he's going to get,
and if you're going to,
he is present. He's within a few feet of all this stuff going on. So it is a perfectly reasonable understanding that he is witnessing this and that this is forming his state of mind. He is seeing confrontations. We are showing the jury those confrontations. These are occurring right in front of his face. So this is him right there. I'm not showing stuff that was 10 blocks away. I'm showing what was right in front of him as he's witnessing. We've already seen him in this video. Now, if the defense wants to argue he didn't witness it, if they've got evidence to suggest that, they can argue that and the jury can make a decision. This is a factual dispute. The hearsay objection again, these are not being, no statement that I'm showing this for you is being offered to prove the fact of the statement. But hearsay does not necessarily have to be admitted for the truth of the matter asserted to be relevant. It can be admitted for other purposes, such as present sense impression, state of mind. These are excited utterances that are going on in the heat of a conflict in a scene like that. So there are plenty of hearsay objections.
There are so many things you're touching on that I want to be able to tackle them all.
Sure.
And this present sense impression thing, what the defendant was aware of with respect to what was pictured in the video, and I'll give you that even though the camera's aimed on him and is looking into his face, and what he's seeing is actually the videographer, but I'll grant you he's there, but you're accomplishing the result as to what was available for his scrutiny when you show the movie, the video. I don't see where the commentary by the videographer is part of his sources of knowledge. That's number one. Secondly, getting back to the Jackson case and the ruling the other day, and I'm going to comment about the media again, because there was a gentleman on TV night before last who said this is the most divisive case in the country today. So anything that undermines public confidence in what happens here is very important. It's important for this town. It's important for this country to have people have confidence in the result of this trial, whatever it is. And I don't care what it is. But people have to be confident. There are people on the media, on reputable sites, that are saying things that are totally bizarre. And I'm going to cite one only because it is exemplary, and it stems from the conversation we had the other day about the uncommunicated threat rule. You talk about things that occurred with respect to Mr. Rosenbaum that were unknown to the defendant at the time that the crime allegedly was committed. And you're right, under one subsection of that statute, the defendant has to have been aware of the incident in order to be an operative fact. But there's another one, the uncommunicated threat rule, which is an ancient rule of our law, which I talked about at the time of the ruling. And the Jackson case discussed it somewhat. It's also discussed here at Judge Weinstein's commentaries. And it's section 7.01, subsection 3, subsection C. And it says, if the defendant offers evidence of the alleged victim's character, it must be in the form of opinion or reputation testimony. And that was, I think, one of the things that you were advancing. It may not be in the form of evidence concerning other acts. When a defendant offers evidence of the alleged victim's character, then the process, well, I won't read that because it's not relevant. But then the next paragraph, and this is the critical one. When the defendant offers evidence of a homicide victim's violent character, but does not show that the defendant was aware of that character trait at the time of the incident resulting in the victim's death, the defendant is offering the evidence as circumstantial proof of the alleged victim's violent behavior at the time of the incident in question, and the offer falls squarely within Rule 404, subsection A, subsection 2, subsection B. On the other hand, if there is evidence that the defendant was aware of the alleged victim's violent nature at the time of the incident in question, evidence of the alleged victim's violent character is admissible in support of the accused's claim of self-defense, but solely under 404A 2B. Under those circumstances, the evidence of the alleged victim's violent character is admissible independently of Rule 404A 2B because it is relevant to the accused's apprehension of the imminent danger and the reasonableness of his or her defensive measures. So there's two different parts of the rule. One of them is the defendant has to have been aware of the decedent's violent acts or turbulent behavior. In the other one, it's circumstantial evidence of the victim's violent behavior at the time of the incident. That's what I admitted it on. Now, one of these, this was on CNN, Jeffrey Toobin and another attorney there, and the comment was made that the ruling was incomprehensible. And I think they obviously are not familiar with this rule. That's our law. That's the law in the Jackson case. It's the law in the case of the United States against Craig A. Smith, which is 230 Federal 2nd 300, 7th Circuit case from 2000. This is admissible evidence. But it applies under the statute to the decedent. It does not apply to the defendant. So you're mixing rules up here, and I don't understand any theory under which you can bring in what certainly seems to me to be hearsay when you could acquire the attendance of the witness.
George, there are two things. Do you have the modern site, an actual site for Wisconsin in terms of the rule? Because that 404 clearly is not a Wisconsin statute.
Well, I'll look it up. It's the same rule. It's 90404.
904?
It just changes one numeral, which has been the rule for as long as I've been practicing evidence.
What was the subsection? You said 404 subsection 2B2, was that it?
Yeah, it would be Wisconsin. The federal rules and the Wisconsin rules, as you know, have basically are the same in most instances and in this one, but they just use a different numeral.
That's the greater latitude rule of child sex offenses.
No, it's not. It's not the greater latitude rule.
Well, under 90404 sub 2B2, that under Wisconsin statutes, that's the greater latitude rule for child sex offenses. So the greater latitude rule for child sex offenses, there may be a difference in the subsection lettering and numbering between the federal system, which is Rule 404, and Wisconsin statute, section 904.04. So I'm not sure where that section that you were mentioning, Judge, matches up with the Wisconsin statute. I think that is Mr. Krause's point.
All right. 90404, character evidence not admissible to prove conduct, exceptions, other crimes. And subsection, you know what it is? They changed not only the first digit, but they also changed the A's and B's to 1s and 2s. So you're right. I was reading from from Judge Weinstein's commentary, but when you translate into Wisconsinese, it comes out as with numerals, but it's it's 90404 subsection 1 subsection B, and evidence of a pertinent trait of character of the victim of the crime offered by an accused and then under 90405 methods of proving character is subsection 2 is specific instances of conduct of the in this case the decedent.
I understand, Your Honor.
So that's the basis upon which this ruling was made, and it's not incomprehensible, and it's accordance with our law. And what is in the mind of the defendant is not governed by that rule. This is the character of the decedent.
I understand what you're saying, Your Honor. I want to briefly respond to that, if I may, and then I'd like to get back to this video. I think just generally, I have not watched Jeffrey Toobin or anyone else discussing this case on the media. It is of no concern to me, so I'm not in a position to respond to what any of those talking heads have said.
I don't expect you to. My point is
Sure.
that I want the case to be fairly tried, and I wanted people to understand that we want to go forward from this case, whatever the outcome is, and not have all kinds of people making inaccurate statements about what the law is.
I don't have any comment on the media's coverage, Your Honor, so I'll move on. This video contains statements from the videographer and other people at that scene. The confrontation clause issue, I don't believe is applicable.
Skip from confrontation to a hearsay.
So let's go to hearsay. I am not introducing these statements for the truth of the matter asserted.
Then why are they relevant?
Because they go to the defendant's state of mind. They are present.
I'm going to invite you to respond.
Your Honor,
I'll hear you more, but I do want to hear his response.
Unless this unsubpoenaed individual can read minds, that is a ridiculous argument. This narrator is going to prove my client's state of mind? That's absurd. I don't know how to respond to that. And the general, and I don't even want to use this word, but panoply of what's going on here, if it's not the opinions of the narrator, that goes to what may or may not have been seen by my client. You know, somebody yelling, they're throwing things, or there's a laser. I'm not objecting to that, because that's part of what goes on and what went on that night. It was shown even some at the gas station that Mr. Elijah was testifying to. What we're objecting to is the person who is running the feed and giving the editorial comments. That is hearsay.
Can I just ask, maybe we can short circuit this a little bit? What specifically is this person saying? Is it the word militia? That's I think, the triggering word here.
It seems to me you have the burden to tell me what that I should expect from this video that I never heard before, how I should be ready to pounce, because you're offering a running commentary from a person who is not here under oath to give testimony, and you're expecting me to be ready at a moment's notice to figure out what's going to be the next word out of his mouth, and then try to put
my question was actually directed at the defense, Your Honor. I didn't mean to direct it to you. All right. So I think the difficulty practically, Your Honor, I understand the objection of the word militia, and I don't think it's hearsay. I think it falls within a number of exceptions, but nonetheless, if we're going to deal with that word, I guess there's a couple of options. One is I can try and go back, and I'm going to need some time to do this. I would need to go through this video and figure out every moment that word is used, and we will have to figure out a way to cover that up, stop the sound for that second that word is used. The other option is, and I think this is a perfectly reasonable one, is the judge, you can simply instruct the jury on this issue, that this is the narrator's statements. They are not to be, that the jury should give no weight to what the narrator is characterizing.
I've never done that before. In 50 years, well, in 38 years up here, I have never told a jury, I'm going to play this, and some of it might not be okay, but just don't pay any attention to that. Is that what you're telling me?
I respect the fact that you've never done it, Your Honor, but it has been done. It is a perfectly permissible procedure by the court. The jury is presumed to follow your instructions. We give them instructions on evidence all the time.
We're going to take a break right now. Would you ask the jurors to go upstairs and talk about the case, please? We're going to take a break. I think it would be prudent to do so at this point. Okay, what you asked me about, but will be there's be someone in to fill your role that day?
One more.
That's right. For me? No. Be seated, by the way. About the room and it was because I'll finish later. I'm going to keep you on bated breath. I am gonna.
All right, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we're going to continue showing a portion of what has previously been introduced as exhibit number 18. This is the rundown live video, and I'm going to play a portion of this beginning at 1 hour, 24 minutes, and 30 seconds. And this can have audio, please.
Understand. Hey, your job isn't to be in the street. You got to stay on your property. That's why you got problems already with people. No one bothering your property. Don't look for trouble where there ain't none. A medic? I know you are, but like they got their own medics. You know, if somebody's close by, take care of them. I know you're just trying to make peace. I get that, but they don't look at it that way. They look at you guys as it's a different. It's as much as you guys were afraid of them before they marched down here. I know, but like what a conversation we're having.
All right, we're going to stop there. And now I'd like to play a portion of the video at 1 hour, 28 minutes, and 56 seconds. Thank you. Detective Howard, that last portion of the video appears to show some what have previously been identified as MRAP or Bearcat vehicles. Are you familiar with those types of vehicles?
Yes.
And in that particular video, there's one that's close to the camera as on the screen that we're looking at right now. Do you know anything about that vehicle personally?
Not personally, no.
Do you know if the Kenosha Police Department has a vehicle like that?
No, at this time the Kenosha Police Department did not have a SWAT team.
Is it fair to say that on this particular night there were a number of other law enforcement agencies that were coming to Kenosha to assist?
Yes.
Do you have any idea which agency's Bearcat or armored vehicle that was?
I don't. I can tell it's from a sheriff's department because it says sheriff on the front right of the armored vehicle, but I don't know which sheriff's department it's from.
Okay, thank you. Now if we could have exhibit number 1, which is a Drew Hernandez video 023. Play, please. Detective. The last video, the Rundown Live video, was that one of the videos that you found and acquired when you were doing your investigation?
Yes, that one I believe I located on YouTube and saved it from YouTube.
We're about to watch a video from an individual who online identifies himself as Drew Hernandez. Is that right?
Yes.
Was this also one of the videos that you found?
Yes, his videos I located on Twitter.
Okay. If we can play this, please. I want to set the stage for this. Detective Howard, first of all, are you able to determine from the scene on the screen right now where this video is taken?
So the first thing I noticed is this appears to be a body cam from Drew Hernandez. So I did locate videos from Drew Hernandez from Twitter, but he also was in contact with Detective Antaramian for a bit, and we learned from Drew Hernandez that he actually wears a body camera while he goes out.
That's why his arm kind of appears in front of him.
Yeah. So this has to be from his body cam footage, given that visual.
And can you help the jury understand where this video is showing us, what part of Kenosha at this particular scene there?
I believe this is near the this car source again.
And am I correct in saying that the viewpoint in the video at this moment is looking southeast across the intersection of Sheridan Road there? Does that look correct to you?
That's what it appears to be, yes.
Okay. Do you know if this is the intersection of 50? Sorry, I'm trying to...
This looks like 59th and Sheridan.
59th, okay, that was going to be my question. Thank you. Can we continue the video, please? Now can we play exhibit number 8, which is the Elijah riot interview? While we're waiting, Detective Howard, was this Elijah Riot interview that's about to be played another one of the videos that you acquired?
Yes, I was able to acquire that from Twitter.
We're protecting from the citizens, and I just got pepper sprayed by a person in the crowd.
So you had non-lethal, but you didn't respond.
We don't have non-lethal.
So you guys are full on ready to defend the property.
Yes, we are. Now, if I can ask, can you guys step back? Medical, EMS right here. I'm an EMT.
Detective Howard, in that video we heard the defendant say that he does not have any non-lethal. Did you hear that?
Yes.
As a law enforcement officer, are you familiar with that term?
Yes.
What does that mean to you?
So as a police officer, there are various options that we could have as non-lethal force. Our presence is a non-lethal force. Our verbal commands are non-lethal. And there's also some physical things we can do as well. We can go hands-on. We can use different instruments like OC spray, it's pepper spray, and we also have a taser, and we have an aspeton. Police officers in the city of Kenosha carry all those things.
Thank you. Can you now please play exhibit number 16, which is the Richie McGinnis interview? It says Richie McGinnis Kyle interview. While we're waiting for that to load, are you familiar with Richie McGinnis?
Yes.
Can you tell us what you know about him as a person?
So on the night of August 25th, I was able to speak with him briefly at Frederick South KMH. Richie McGinnis, I spoke with him in the lobby of that hospital shortly after the shooting incident happened. And I was able to speak with him briefly, but when Detective Antaramian and I got assigned to be the head investigators for this incident, I had to delegate Detective Cypress to obtain his statement so we could do.
Do you know what Richie McGinnis's profession is?
I believe he's a news reporter for the Daily Caller.
And he was in Kenosha on the night of August 25th as a member of the news media. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. Can we please play exhibit number 16, please, here?
What are you doing out here? Obviously you're armed and you're in front of this business. We saw it burning last night, so what's up?
So people are getting injured, and our job is to protect this business, and part of my job is to also help people. If there's somebody hurt, I'm running into harm's way. That's why I have my rifle, because I need to protect myself, obviously. But I also have my med kit. So.
And what about these other folks? Obviously there's some other people who are armed as well.
Their job is to protect me.
Gotcha. And then what about these guys up on the roof?
Their job is to provide overwatch to protect me also.
Gotcha.
They're protecting everybody on the ground. We're protecting each other.
Understood. And
we're running medical, and we're going in, and we're getting people.
And what about, are you from the area?
I am from the area.
What brought you out here tonight? You just wanted to provide medical attention?
Provide medical attention to the people that need it. If somebody's injured, like you get hurt, I'm grabbing you.
I'm getting hit with plenty of pepper balls, but you know, as long as it's just bruises. Yeah, I got my mask. I'm good. And have you encountered any issues yet thus far with law enforcement or anything like that?
We had a group earlier try to come and set a fire at the church. So we went to the church and we de-escalated the situation, telling them they need to leave or they will be detained and then later arrested.
This church right over here?
That church right there. And we stopped the fire out all the way down at the school.
Wow. And what do you think it would have been different if the police had to try to stop them from setting the fire?
I feel like there would be a lot more casualties and a lot more people injured. So I think the police are fine where they're at and that let us run the medical because EMS is not coming in. This is considered a red zone to the EMS and fire. They are not coming in.
Yeah.
So us citizens, we need to help each other. Me and him are out here running and seeing if people need medical attention.
But speaking of which, we need to go check to see if somebody got hurt again.
All right.
Understood.
If you want to follow us, you're fine.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Good night, Amber. This might be another one of theirs.
The video there, Detective Howard, shows the defendant along with another individual. That is Ryan Balch. Is that correct?
Correct.
And at this point, and we're going to continue with another video right after this, they're leaving the 59th Street car source and walking south on Sheridan on the east side of the road. Is that correct?
No, on the west side. of Sheridan
West
Road.
side, yes, west side. And do you know at this point in the evening where the police, the armored vehicles we saw earlier, where they are located?
Are those some ahead at 60th?
So as far as you can tell, they've established a line along 60th and Sheridan?
I think I can see some at 60th at this point in the video.
Okay. Can we continue now with exhibit number 17, which is, the file is Richie McGinnis walking with Kyle.
I didn't get the number, I'm sorry.
It's 17.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Anybody need medical?
So you guys are kind of like medics who are packing.
Yeah,
Right?
basically. Well, he's an EMT, and
Gotcha.
I'm just kind of protecting his ass.
Oh, so you're a certified EMT?
Yeah.
Gotcha. And do you work as an EMT normally?
I just got the thing, and I'm a lifeguard normally. I got my ALS and I got my
Gotcha.
And I'm former Army infantry, and I got a whole bunch of trauma training.
Well, thank you for your service.
We got you if you get needed.
Appreciate the service.
Oh, yeah. Dude.
Stay away from that vehicle. Get out of the roadway. Thank you. There's a guy with a rock. Be careful. Right behind that white fence. There are rocks in there, so be careful. Hey! Friendly! Hey, medic! Coming through! Medical! Medic coming through! Medic coming through! Does anybody need medical? Anybody need medical? We're running through houses over here. Anybody need medical? Hey, guys. Medical?
fire extinguishers are here to put out the fires. They know.
Okay, good.
They know.
You just got shot up.
You good? It's all right. Where you shot?
I'm not shot.
You just said you got shot.
No, I didn't.
I thought you got rubber bullet in it.
Oh, no, I just got rubber bullet. Yeah. Oh, it didn't even leave a welt. It just stung. It just fucking stung. I'm fine. I knew.
Little pepper boy never hurt nobody.
It was literally just like, oh,
It's a little spicy, that's all.
It was like, oh shit. That was really annoying.
Yeah, a little salsa.
Like, I could shoot my friend. Could you please not? It was just literally like, oh, I got a fire extinguisher.
Does anybody need medical? Does anybody need medical?
I think someone's got some medical weed, I'll tell you that.
Does anybody need medical? Medical! Does anybody need medical?
You were just the one talking about get out the car, trying to help you out the car. Now you trying to do medical? I remember you. You said get out the car. Fuck you talking about medical? Yeah. Your ass a
Does anybody need medical?
I'm trying to tell motherfuckers this guy thought it was me.
Medical!
What, yesterday or today?
Today, dude, he just had up the gun talking about get off your car. Now he talking about medical.
What car? Over in the dealership?
car
Sorry,
down
I don't feel. Hey, if you wanna, no, I'm not gonna do it.
Now, if we could please play, and just to be clear, Detective Howard, the videos we just watched from Richie McGinnis were videos that you obtained from him, is that correct?
Those were obtained from his phone. Detective Cypress obtained those.
Okay. Now, if we could play exhibit number 14, that is the Reg Incognito live stream. And we're going to start at the 3 hour and 58 minute mark.
Hey, you guys, you can only watch it from over here, man. You can't really be that close up. So between a certain part of a certain section of Black Lives Matter and maybe, I'm saying at least about 20 white dudes from Antifa, you can't get up close on the up on them, man. They just made an example out of that guy, and I'm trying to help him out. So the white dude I was just talking to, or whatever he is right here, he just got his phone slapped. He got his phone slapped at him and socked at the same time. This dude right here, walking away. This dude right here got his phone slapped and blindsided. So the orders you hear about yelling no cameras, them is white boys. Yeah, that's Antifa, man. Oh, we got a gun, baby. Ooh, they shooting. Ooh, he shot him.
I'm going to pause for a second. Can we rewind about 20 seconds there, please? Okay, let's continue there, please.
So the orders you.
Back up just a couple seconds, please. It's better. Yeah, just go 10 seconds.
Sorry.
For the jury's benefit, I'm going to point out there's an individual here who is running. He is wearing what appears to be all black with some white.
Counsel, can you do it on that one so we can see it?
Absolutely. Sorry. How do I get there? Excuse me. This individual, this is the right one?
Keep your receipt.
Yep. Okay, I just want to make sure. This individual here, who, when we play it back, you will see him kind of running across here. That is Richie McGinnis. So we'll rewind it so you can follow that, but that individual is Richie McGinnis, and there's no dispute about that from the defense. So I just want to set the scene for the jurors. Can we rewind a little bit, and I'm going to show them that portion again.
Slapped and blindsided. So the order.
I want to just. I'm just going to kind of point out the area to watch. Okay, we can't really see figures very well, but for the jury's benefit, we just saw Richie McGinnis running. He's off screen now, but he's kind of over in this area. Around this section of the right hand of the screen, right-hand side of the screen, there are some parked cars. That is the area where I will represent, there's no dispute about this, where the chase between Mr. Rosenbaum and the defendant begins. So that's where you'll want to be paying attention to. So can we rewind that about 10 seconds and we'll start it over so now everybody knows where to look?
Blindsided. So the orders you hear about yelling no cameras, them is white boys. Yeah, that's Antifa.
And for the benefit of the jury, I will make it clear to everyone that the individual who I'm pointing to right now, who is running, is the defendant Kyle Rittenhouse, and this individual here is Joseph Rosenbaum. And that again is not in dispute. Please go ahead.
Man. Oh, we got a gun, baby. Ooh, they shooting. Ooh, he shot him.
Get back.
Shot him, man. He shot him. Shot him, man. He laid him out. He laid him out, you guys. He laid him out.
benefit of the jury, I want to make it clear, I think everybody knows this, but just make clear, this individual who has just removed his shirt is reaching a Guinness, and that is the defendant. These legs here are the legs of Joseph Rosenbaum, where he fell after he was shot. Go ahead. Thank you.
You gotta get down. Hey, there's a paramedics. Can you call for the paramedics? We got shot. Hey, I'm going to refresh my shit. He's calling! He's calling! He's calling! He's calling! He's calling! He's calling the paramedics. He's behind the car. He's calling. Julie! Let's go to the hospital! He's hitting his chest. He's hitting his chest. Shot him.
Get back!
Get back!
Oh my God!
Yeah, that shit went
Get away!
back.
Let him get in!
And Morgan Trump donated $3. He found out.
What the patient privacy?
Yeah.
John McGraw donated $5. TFWWH and Whiny Sheridan.
We're going to continue with that exhibit number 14 and go to the 4 hour and 6 minute mark.
Let me show you where he got laid out. Look at the blood.
I just want to make it clear for the jurors that the portion that I played just a bit ago that showed the Rosenbaum shooting was from 3 hours and 58 minutes to 4 hours and 2 minutes and 30 seconds. That was where it ended with the vehicle driving away. This is now beginning 3 minutes and 30 seconds later at the 4 hour and 6 minute mark. I just wanted you to know the gap in time between these two videos. Please continue.
Junior donated $3. Time to clear the... Mr. Roman donated $3. This is what democracy looks LOL. Ira Gershwin donated $3. The social workers are shooting each other veggie.
So fucked up. Someone else?
Get the fuck out of here. Let's go. You set that fire.
Duke Beast donated $3. Blast archers of loaf instead of blasting caps.
I'm gonna need to stop that man in his head. Let's go.
I just want to make it clear for the jury, in this video we see this is Ryan Mulch and this is Jason Lukowski. Now can we please play exhibit number 19? This is entitled Drew Hernandez Shooting Video. And again, these are videos, Detective Howard, that you obtained during your investigation?
Yes, this one was obtained on Twitter.
You can play this all with sound. Detective Howard, are you able to tell from this video what we're looking at in terms of where we are in Kenosha?
Yes, we are. He's in Sheridan Road with the video. Let's see. All right, car source is right here on the west side of Sheridan Road, and then across the street is KMH. So his camera is pointing south. So on the left side of the screen, you're seeing the KMH parking lot right here, and up ahead and to the right in the screen is going to be the car source. At this point in time, it looks like he's right about the intersection of Sheridan Road and 62nd Street.
And I want to point out there's no dispute that we just saw an individual here on the right-hand side wearing all black with white writing on the back of his shirt. That is Richie McGinnis. About 10 or 12 seconds, please. Back up just a little bit further, please. Go ahead. I'm just going to point out McGinnis. I want to point out for the jury, just so we can follow the action here, we have this individual is the defendant, Kyle Rittenhouse. This individual is Joseph Rosenbaum. And the individual in black with the white lettering on the back of his shirt is Richie McGinnis. Go ahead. Detective Howard, I'm going to pause at this moment. I don't think there's any dispute that we've heard a total of 8 shots in a row there.
I agree.
And I'm just going to explain that. So, Detective Howard, you've watched numerous videos of this incident, correct?
Yes, this part was one of the focuses.
And there were 8 shots that we just heard. The first one was Joshua Zeminski, correct?
Correct.
And can you tell the jury what he does with regard to that shot?
So Joshua Zeminski is, at this time, you could see it on the Reg Incognito video. At this time, he's walking slowly southbound on the West Sheridan Road sidewalk in front of CarSource. So Joshua's walking right at about this spot right here while the chase is going on in a southwest direction through the CarSource parking lot. At that time, Joshua Zeminski has a handgun in his right hand, and he raises his hand up in the air and fires 1 shot. At that time, Mr. Rittenhouse and Mr. Rosenbaum are running through the CarSource parking lot, so Mr. Zeminski's gunshot happens behind them.
Shortly thereafter, the defendant fires 4 shots from his AR-15, striking Mr. Rosenbaum all 4 times. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, as part of your work in this investigation, have you viewed this incident in numerous videos?
Yes.
Have you timed, using those videos, the gap in time between Mr. Zeminski's initial shot and the first of the defendant's 4 shots at Joseph Rosenbaum?
Yes, using a stopwatch, I estimated that time to be approximately 2.5 seconds.
Immediately after, and I use the word immediately, but in sequence after the 4 shots from the defendant that are shot at Mr. Rosenbaum, there is a sequence of 3 shots after that. Is that right?
Correct.
Those are not fired by the defendant.
Correct.
As best as you can tell in your investigation, where are those shots from, if you know?
I believe it to be coming from the area of 63rd Street, but it is hard to confirm that because we do not have good video available of that source of gunfire.
Can you just use your pointer to show approximately on 63rd Street on that map where you're talking about?
I would estimate that those 3 are coming from this area.
I don't know if all the jurors can see that or not, but you're pointing to an area that is on the south end of the CarSource lot along the north side of 63rd Street. And is it fair to say that you're indicating a space that is about halfway between Sheridan and the west edge of the CarSource lot?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, let's hold that up a little higher, please. Thank you. And that's, again, the pointer that you're using right now is showing us where you believe those 3 shots likely came from.
Yes.
No one has ever been identified with regard to those shots?
Correct.
Was any evidence recovered, shell casings, anything like that, that would indicate anything about those shots?
Yes, there are some shell casings recovered.
From the street in that area?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any indication that those shots have any relation to the incident between Mr. Rittenhouse and Mr. Rosenbaum?
No, those do not appear to be fired by Mr. Rosenbaum or Mr. Rittenhouse.
Thank you. Can we continue the video, please? Excellent.
Put pressure on it. Put fucking pressure on it.
Where, dude? Where? Where's the hole?
Wait, where are you? He's right here in his head. In his head. Come on. Put pressure. Put pressure. Put pressure. Check it out. Hey, keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open. You shot him.
I didn't try to.
Hey, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay.
Dude, that's not gonna help shit. Put pressure on this shit.
Yeah, but you gotta keep him alive. Hey, bro, just talk to me, bro. What's up?
Can we now please play exhibit number 15? That is a file entitled Richie McGinnis at Rosenbaum's Body.
You okay? Just don't move, man. Don't move. All right, can I flip you over real quick? I'm gonna flip you over real quick, bro. Here, flip over real quick. Just gotta get pressure on this, dude. Where's it at?
Turn around.
Where's it at, dude? Get a light on it. Get a light. Give me a fucking light.
Put pressure on it. Put fucking
Where?
pressure on it.
Where, dude? Where? Where's the hole?
Wait, where are you at?
Get the
He's
fucking
right
mask
here
up.
in his head. In his head. Come on. Put pressure. Put pressure. Put pressure. Put pressure. Hey, keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open. You shot him.
I didn't. I don't know.
Hey, you're okay. You're okay.
Just get pressure on this shit.
Yeah, but you gotta keep him alive.
Hey, bro, just talk to me, bro. What's your name, bro?
Stay with me.
Hey, what's your name, bro? What's your name, bro?
Is y'all thinking the hospital right here? Yeah, get him up.
We got a car. We got a car. Yo, keep pressure on it.
I got him. Get him. I got him.
Keep pressure on that.
Get his arms. Put that down.
I got you, dude. I got you.
Please, guys, make sure he has a hole.
Keep pressure, people. Hold on. We gotta get more people.
Now can we please play exhibit number 12? This is the Kyle Cook video. Detective Howard, can you help us, or help the jury rather, where is this video physically at in Kenosha as we're watching it right now?
So at this point in time, Kyle Cook is the videographer, and he's a little bit north of the car source. I'd estimate he's about here.
You're pointing on the west side of Sheridan Road between the 61st Street and 62nd Street?
Yes.
Okay, and he's heading south?
Yes, his camera right now is pointing southbound.
Okay, thank you.
So there was just like 6 shots. It went off.
Present to the jury, and there's no dispute about this. What we're seeing in this video in the middle of the street is the defendant, and on his left is Gage Grosskreutz. We can continue.
Stop him! Stop him! Stop him! Man, who shot him? He shot him! Hey, stop him! Who shot him?
Shit's about to turn up here. Damn, dude, we got people shot everywhere, bro. We got somebody down right fucking here.
Detective Howard, at the moment that this video is paused, there appear to be some figures huddled around a dark spot on the ground on the east side of Sheridan Road. Do you know what that is?
I believe that's Mr. Huber.
That is where he fell after being shot by the defendant?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go to the next exhibit, which is going to be exhibit number 6. This is the CJTV running video. And just so we can make it clear for the jury, Detective Howard, the video we just saw is after the defendant has shot Mr. Rosenbaum at 63rd.
Correct.
And he is traveling north on Sheridan Road from that car source at 63rd. Is that fair to say? Okay, thank you.
Oh shit, he shot that guy in the stomach.
I paused it there. Detective Howard, there is an individual wearing shorts that appears to be holding his arm running off to the left of this video. That is Gage Grosskreutz?
Correct.
And this is immediately after he's been shot in the right arm by the defendant?
Correct.
Okay. Please continue.
Oh, shit. Shit, people are getting shot all around us. People are just getting shot everywhere, guys. Move. Take this. Take this. Take this, motherfucker. I got it. Oh, fuck me.
I need a fucking medic! I'm returning.
Can we please now play exhibit number 5? This is the BG on the scene video. Go back to the beginning of that video. I want to highlight some things for the jury, if we could, please. Yes, please. There's no dispute about the identity of an individual here. Could you back it up, and I'm going to have you stop when we see him a little bit better. Go ahead. That's fine. You can play. Running in from the right hand of the screen here, he's right, I'm pointing to him right now, he's kind of obscured, but there's an individual here running with a skateboard that is Anthony Huber. There's no dispute about that. Go ahead. This is a difficult to see pause point in the video, but I'll represent there's no dispute. This is the defendant, Mr. Rittenhouse. This is Anthony Huber. His skateboard has wound up over here, and he is picking it up, and then he's going to continue after the defendant. Oh, and one more thing I want to point out. This individual here is an individual who in a few seconds will come in towards Mr. Rittenhouse, attempting to kick him. Go ahead. seconds? Okay, continue there, please. There is a moment here in which the defendant is on the ground and he's got his gun pointed towards this individual approaching him. Detective Howard, in the entire sequence of these events, how many times did the defendant fire his gun?
8 times.
I believe the testimony thus far is that 4 of those rounds were discharged and struck Mr. Rosenbaum. Is that correct?
Correct.
The 5th and 6th times that he shot were at this individual with the white pants. Is that correct?
Correct.
The 7th shot is fired at Anthony Huber.
Yes.
And the 8th round is at Mr. Grosskreuz's right arm.
Correct.
Okay. Please continue. Pause. The defendant has just discharged 1 round into the chest of Anthony Huber. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Please continue. Pause. You have just testified, Detective, that the defendant discharged a total of 8 rounds.
Yes.
We are hearing other rounds in this video after the shootings of Mr. Huber and Mr. Grosskreutz, correct?
Correct.
None of those shots are being fired by the defendant, correct?
Correct.
Please continue. Detective Howard, I'm pointing to an individual here who is walking towards the scene. Do you know who that is?
I was hard to see.
Can we continue, please?
Time to move.
Okay, pause. Do you know who that is?
Yes, that is Ryan Balch.
Thank you. At the end of this video, the defendant approaches a Kenosha squad car, correct?
Yes, the Kenosha Police Squad car, yes.
Yes, Kenosha Police Squad car. Do you know the names of the officers who were inside that squad car?
Yes.
And who are they?
Officer Moretti and Officer Krieger.
And that's Pep Moretti?
Correct.
And James Krieger? James?
Jason
Krieger.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. May we now please play exhibit number 4, a file entitled Zeminski After Rosenbaum Shooting.
He fucking shot him! Get his ass! He fucking shot him! He fucking shot him! He fucking shot him! He fucking shot him!
Do you know whose voice we're hearing?
Yes, that is Kelly Zeminski's voice.
In the video here, we're seeing a figure walking away from the camera in a dark top, looks like maybe camouflage pants, pointing. Do you know who that individual is?
Yes, that is Joshua Zeminski.
And he is the one who fired the first shot about 2.5 seconds before Mr. Rittenhouse shot Joseph Rosenbaum.
Yes.
Okay. Please continue.
He shot. He's fucking shot. Behind the goddamn car, he's shot. The fucking god, dude.
That was a little dude in the green shirt with the rifle.
Talk about unfriendly and shit. No, he got shot with a real fucking gun, girl.
Were you able to get him in over there?
Yeah, they brought him in. Fuck you!
Go get the motherfucker that shot him!
Yeah.
Go get the motherfucker that shot him! He's running around with a big ass fucking gun! You ain't doing shit! Go get the motherfucker that shot him!
This is not okay. No shit.
You shot both fuckers?
Huh?
This is why this shit happening! You motherfuckers ain't do shit!
They're too busy protecting their government fucking buildings, bro. They don't give a fuck about nobody out here. They don't give a fuck about nobody out here. Babe. Hey.
Who got shot?
Detective Howard, that video ended at the location where Mr. Rosenbaum's body fell after being shot and killed by the defendant, correct?
Correct.
You've seen that location in this video and in numerous other videos, is that fair to say?
Yes.
At any point in any of those videos, is there any indication that Mr. Rosenbaum had any weapon of any kind?
No.
No gun?
I can only see a plastic bag that he's carrying.
So no gun?
No.
No knife?
No.
No bat?
No.
No club?
No.
Can we now please play exhibit number 13, the Lakota Lichtwalt live stream?
Does anybody need a break right now? We'll be taking one shortly, but right now? Okay, go ahead.
Let's begin at the 9-minute mark, Brian. 9-minute mark. Lichtwalt is... She's got the exhibit list
Appreciate that. The people joining my live stream from CJ TV, I do appreciate it. Guys, if I drop out again, make sure that you're jumping across to Corey Elijah, also another local here who's been documenting things in our hometown. Otherwise, make sure you're jumping on CJ TV and Mercado Media. It does sound like we've got some stuff going on over here. I don't know if that's fireworks or what we have going on. We're going to go try and check it out.
Locations for the jury. Detective Howard, we have seen this video begin at a location, and it appears that the person taking the video is now moving. Can you, if you're able to, can you tell us where this person was at the beginning of the video?
So at the beginning of the video, it appeared that Mr. Lichtwalt was on the southwest corner of Sheridan Road and 60th Street. The armored vehicles that you saw in the beginning of the video were at 60th Street. Now it appears he turned the camera around and now he's facing south.
And as we watch this video, is he going to be heading south along Sheridan Road?
Yes.
Okay. Please continue. Can we rewind 10 seconds, please? I want to call the jury's attention to the center of Sheridan Road there. It's kind of in the center of the screen right now. There will be some figures coming towards the camera. I just want to focus the jury's attention on that as we start the playing again, please, from there. Well, it's like one more frame. There, okay. No dispute on this. There's no dispute on this. I just want to make it clear for the jury. This individual who is running past the videographer, this individual here is the defendant, Kyle Rittenhouse. He is headed back north up Sheridan Road while this videographer passes him going south. Go ahead.
Those are gunshots, people. Those are gunshots. All right, guys.
Get on the back. Turn again. Where? In your bag? In your bag? In your bag? Help!
We've already seen this from a little bit of a different angle, but I'll represent to the jury, and there's no dispute about this. The individual who's crying out for a medic is Gage Grosskreutz. He's just been shot in the right arm by the defendant. This individual who's just arrived, who's got the kind of greenish pants on, that is Jason Lakowski.
Give me the tourniquet now. No. Tourniquet, take it. Floated. Clock. Please tell me you know how to use this. Where you shot? We got it. It's not how you use it! Fuck. Help me, somebody help me, please. So, right here, I got you.
Can you call?
Let's use it. Tight. Make it tight. Keep it elevated above the heart.
You want to go to the hospital, babe?
Get tight.
You want to go to the hospital?
Move.
Come on.
Twist.
Come this way. Come on.
It's gonna hurt.
Let's go say I do it because what they got that shit.
What's your name, brother?
Let's go.
Guys,
Get back! Everybody get back!
Everybody show us your hands. Right there. You're good right there. Yep, stay right there.
Detective Howard, we have had that image enlarged and enhanced as best we can to focus in on that plastic bag. So in a second, there'll be an image that I'm going to show on the screen of that. For the record, I believe this is exhibit number 24. apologize. We need to do a little something technical. Do you think it'd be a good time for a break?
Well, let's take a break, folks. Please don't talk about the case during the break. Read, watch, or listen to any account of the trial.
Court TV asked if we could move the TV a little bit because it was blocking their view of Detective Howard. Is that still in a position where everybody's able to see it on both ends? Okay? Okay. Detective Howard, before we took a break, I was showing you a still from exhibit number 2, which is the Drew Hernandez video number 029, which was focused on Mr. Rosenbaum. Do you recall that?
Yes.
I'm now going to show on the screen exhibit number 24, which is a sort of a blown up and enhanced photo of that scene of Mr. Rosenbaum. And again, Detective Howard, does that show the plastic bag that Mr. Rosenbaum was carrying around on the evening of August 25th, 2020?
That's what it appears to be, yes.
All right. Now I would like to show exhibit number 9, which is the aerial surveillance video from the FBI. We can pause that, please. Can you now please play exhibit number 26? And now if we can please play exhibit number 25. Brian, can we go back to the beginning of that and then pause, please? I'm going to replay it. Yes, of that same video. Detective Howard, the video that we just watched here at the beginning of the video, let's keep it paused there for a second. There are two individuals identified. One has a circle around them with the label person of interest 1. The second has a square around them with a label of person of interest 2. Do you see that?
Yes.
Based on your investigation, your review of all of the other videos, who are those two individuals?
Person of interest 1 is Joseph Rosenbaum, and person of interest 2 is Kyle Rittenhouse.
Now, can you please play the video again, Brian? Thank you. Your Honor, I have a number of exhibits that I've just used. I believe they are exhibits 1, the Drew Hernandez video 023. Exhibit number 2, the Drew Hernandez video 029. Exhibit number 4, the Zeminski after Rosenbaum shooting video. Exhibit number 5, the BG on the scene video. Exhibit number 6, the CJTV running video. Exhibit number 8, the Elijah riot video. Exhibit number 9 was just played. It has already been admitted into evidence. That is the FBI video. Exhibit number 12, which is the Kyle Cook video. Exhibit number 13, which is the Lakota Lichtwalt live stream. Exhibit number 14, which is the Reg Incognito live stream. Exhibit 15, Richie McGinnis at Rosenbaum's body. Exhibit 16, Richie McGinnis Kyle interview. Number 17, Richie McGinnis walking with Kyle. Number 18, rundown live video. And number 19, the Drew Hernandez shooting video. I would move, and also there is Exhibit 24, which is a photo of Joseph Rosenbaum in the plastic bag. Exhibit 25, an FBI video with markings annotated at normal speed. And then exhibit number 26, which is a second FBI video with markings, which shows the, it's a 5-second clip from second 23 to second 28. I would move all of those exhibits into evidence.
No, there isn't, Your Honor.
Proceed.
The testimony that you've provided today, Detective Howard, and the videos that we've seen of all of these events that you identified as occurring in the area of Sheridan Road between approximately 59th Street and 63rd Street, did everything that we've heard about and seen in this case occur here in the city and county of Kenosha in the state of Wisconsin?
Yes.
We have also heard testimony regarding a person who we've identified as the defendant, Kyle Rittenhouse. Do you see him here in court?
Yes.
Can you point him out for us, please?
He's the gentleman sitting at the corner of that table between Mr. Sharafsi and Ms. Wisco.
I have nothing further.
I will eventually, thank you. With the Kenosha Police Department?
Yes.
You work for the Kenosha Police Department?
Yes.
How long have you been a detective?
Almost 3 years.
And before that, you're a patrol officer?
Yes.
You don't work for the district attorney's office, correct?
Correct.
Your job is to gather facts so that in some cases they can be presented to citizens of Kenosha to make a determination on the guilt or innocence of criminal defendants, correct?
Yes.
And that is supposed to be done without prejudice or fear or favor, correct?
Yes.
And it's, as Joe Friday used to say in the old days, just the facts, correct?
Yes.
Now, in this case, you are one of the lead detectives,
Yes.
and you put innumerable amounts of time into this case, correct?
Yeah, months.
Months. And before August 23rd, there were 3 car sources in Kenosha, Wisconsin, correct?
Yes.
The first one was burnt to the ground on the night of the 24th, correct?
Yes.
The second car source, where Kyle Rittenhouse and other individuals were protecting, and there was video shown, that was an ongoing business back on the 24th, correct?
Yes.
And it wasn't boarded up like it's shown in the videos, correct?
Correct.
That was boarded up because of the civil unrest that was occurring in Kenosha.
Correct.
And going on to car source 3, where the first shooting happened, that was an ongoing business, not boarded up, not damaged, correct?
Correct.
Now, in gathering evidence in cases like this, routinely you go out and you freeze a crime scene and you get as much evidence, you take time, you photograph things, and you get it all so that it's all preserved is the right word, correct?
Correct.
In this case, because of the chaos on the night of the 25th into the morning of the 26th, that wasn't able to be done. Fair statement?
Not to the degree that we typically do. Correct.
And I'm not trying to put blame but I want this jury to be able to understand the situation that was going on in Kenosha at that time. Is it routine for a small contained homicide scene to not be able to find shell casings and have to go back 3 days later when they're pointed out by citizens?
That's not routine. It was 4 days later.
Oh, I apologize. So even longer.
Yeah.
And a citizen said, hey, there's shell casings under this car. You guys should come out and get them.
Yes.
Okay? So it wasn't the standard thorough investigation where you guys put the cones down, you photograph everything, and then you could bring all that forward, correct?
Evidence techs gathered what they were able to observe that night. The evidence technicians were gathering what they were able to observe that night.
Okay. And what I'm getting at is there was nothing hiding those shell casings if they had done a thorough inspection, looked under the cars and things like that, correct?
Correct.
It is a car lot.
Correct.
Now, you went and got a bunch of information in this case through documents. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
You did multiple search warrants.
Yes.
You did multiple subpoenas for records, correct?
Correct.
And a lot of those search warrants were directed at my client's social media, correct?
Correct.
His telephone.
Correct.
I'm sure I'm going to miss somebody. Instagram, TikTok, all of those.
Yes.
Multiple email addresses.
Yes. Google.
And Facebook.
Yes.
And that's so you can get as much background on the individual who is the suspect, correct?
Correct.
That's all done after that night.
Correct.
And that's not something you really have to worry about in the short term going away. You get the subpoenas to these computer companies, it's there, they provide it to you, you get it, correct?
Yeah, the first thing we'll typically do is send a preservation letter to preserve the records, and then a search warrant and subpoena. Those can come a little bit further down the road.
And you get all that information so that you're able to provide the jury a full and complete picture of a suspect or a defendant.
Yes, to the best that we can.
And you've looked through all those documents?
Yes.
Now, in this case, there's a lot of, how should I say it, interest in subjects' cell phones, correct?
Yes.
And cell phones are, for lack of a better word, mini computers that have videos, personal thoughts, just about anything that a person did. Fair statement?
Yes.
And in this case, you got numerous individuals' cell phones, either through consent, where the person said, I have nothing to hide, here, have my cell phone.
Yes.
And there were some times where you talked to people and you said, look, if you don't let us have consent, we're going to have to get a search warrant, but you're not leaving here with your phone unless we've downloaded it, correct?
Something to that degree, yes.
Yeah, and I'm not faulting you, I don't care, okay? But it's an investigatory technique that law enforcement uses, correct?
Correct.
Consent, search warrant, one or the other.
Yes.
And you hold the phone so that if they don't consent, nothing can be destroyed, deleted.
Yes.
If they consent, you have somebody in your department whose main duty is downloading cell phones.
Yes.
There are some cell phones that are not, probably use the wrong word, crackable.
Correct.
Okay, and that means that unless you have the exact finger code or a fingerprint or something, it can't be opened, correct?
Yes, Mr. Rittenhouse's phone was on the latest iOS, and there was not software available at that time.
Okay, iOS stands for?
It's an Apple update.
Okay,
for an
but
iPhone.
it's an operating system. It's a type.
Yes.
Okay, and back in 2020, when you seized Mr. Rittenhouse's phone, you wanted to get in the phone. You immediately sent it to the FBI so that it could be opened or cracked, and they told you they couldn't do that, correct?
Correct.
And myself and Mr. Rittenhouse found out about that, correct?
Correct.
And we said, you want to get in his phone? We'll give you the code as long as we get a copy of whatever you take, correct?
Correct.
And those arrangements were made, and his phone was downloaded.
Correct.
So there's nothing hidden.
Correct.
Now, in this case, you got a search warrant on September 24th. I apologize. In this case, on September 23rd of 2020, you got a signed search warrant from Judge Wagner for Gage Grosswitz's phone, correct?
Correct.
And that was in preparation for a meeting that was going to occur on September 24th between yourself, Gage Grosswitz, his lawyer, and members from the district attorney's office, correct?
I believe that to be correct, but I was not able to attend that meeting.
Okay, who attended it?
Detective Antaramian, and I'm not sure who else.
Okay.
But
the meeting was in person?
yes.
Okay, so search warrant in one hand, correct?
Yes.
Telephone of Mr. Grosswitz, presumably in Mr. Grosswitz's hand.
Yes.
And for some reason, that search warrant was never served on Mr. Grosswitz and his phone taken, correct?
Correct.
So you have a video from Mr. Grosswitz's phone, correct?
Correct.
But you don't have the download of his telephone, correct?
No.
And you wanted the download of his phone, correct?
Yes.
You wanted the information that was in that phone.
Yes.
You had a search warrant to get all the information in that phone.
Yes.
And yet you didn't execute it.
No, I did not.
Okay. Do you know why it wasn't executed?
Concerns with Marcy's Law?
Who had the concerns with Marcy's Law?
Several of us did. I did. Attorneys did.
When you say attorneys, you're talking about Attorney Binger, correct?
Correct.
Marcy's Law is the Victim Rights Amendment, correct?
Correct.
And have you ever not executed a search warrant because of Marcy's Law?
No.
Okay. This is the first time ever.
Yes.
Is it the last time ever?
I can't foresee the future.
Since that date, September 24th of 2020 to today, have you ever not executed a signed search warrant by a judicial officer of Kenosha County because of some concern of Marcy's Law?
No.
Yeah. And there was also objections from his attorney who didn't want to give it over to you, correct?
Correct.
When you interviewed Dominic Black, you're shaking your head no?
No, Detective Antaramian interviewed Dominic Black. I interviewed Wendy, Faith, and Mackenzie Rittenhouse at that time.
You interviewed Dominic Black on, I believe it was November 6th?
Well, the follow-up interview, yes.
Okay, that was when he was under arrest, correct?
Yes.
And that interview was taped, correct?
Yes.
The interview with Breton, I'm going to butcher his name, the individual who's responsible for BG on the scene.
That's Brendan Gutenschwager.
Okay, you said it, thank you.
Yeah.
When you interviewed him, that was taped.
I believe so.
the interview, and I'm not saying you interviewed him, but the interview of Richie McGinnis in the Kenosha Police Department, that was taped.
I believe so.
When the interview was performed with Mr. Grosskowitz and his attorney, Ms. Motley, that interview wasn't taped.
I don't believe so.
Okay. Can you think of any other witnesses in this case, complaining witnesses, whose interviews and information was not taped?
Other complaining witnesses?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. And just so the record's clear, no one has ever interviewed Jump Kick Man, correct?
Correct.
No one's ever been able to identify him.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
He's never come forward and complained to law enforcement that he felt as though he was somehow the victim of a crime on August 25th.
Correct, he has not come forward.
And he never came. You tried to identify him.
We tried.
You tried showing his picture around, asking numerous people.
Yes.
Now, you testified about Mr. Zeminski, correct?
Correct.
Now, after getting a bunch of the videos, which you did get, you review those and you realize, correct me if I'm wrong, that Kyle Rittenhouse did not fire the first shot.
Correct.
And through some Facebook sleuthing, it's brought out that an individual by the name of Alec Blaine was the individual who in fact had done or fired the first shot on the 25th.
Yeah, I believe it was Alex Blaine was going around social media and different outlets, but yeah, I saw that name on the internet.
Okay, and through getting his picture off Facebook, that picture was circulated around your department.
Yes.
And he was a known individual, and somebody says, that's not Alec Blaine, that's Joshua Zeminski.
Correct.
And do you know who that was?
Information was forwarded to our gang crimes unit at the time, and I believe they had a resource in Milwaukee that they helped coordinate identification with, and through that coordinated effort, we were able to get that identification.
And now we all agree that it was Mr. Blake who fired one shot.
You said Mr. Blake?
I apologize. Mr. Zeminski, the real name, who fired a shot shortly before Mr. Rosenbaum was shot by Kyle.
Yes.
Now, on direct examination, you were asked a question about the timing from Zeminski's shot to Kyle's shot, correct?
Correct.
You did that with a stopwatch?
Yes.
So it's a human act.
Yes.
Okay. And the Wisconsin State Crime Lab has numerous individuals who can break down video, correct?
Yes.
You can do a frame-by-frame analysis of the video, and that can tell you frames per second, and you can come within hundredths of a second of what happened, correct?
Correct.
And whether Mr. Zeminski was on the sidewalk or Mr. Zeminski was on the beginning of the parking lot, where you see the flash on the video is behind Kyle Rittenhouse, correct?
At that time, yes.
Okay, and the shot goes off, and it's in close proximity, 30 feet?
Yes.
Okay, and from behind him.
Yes.
And you were asked questions by Mr. Binger about Mr. Rosenbaum and your information regarding him. And he named a series of weapons, gun, knife, I think there was even a bat or something like that. In your extensive review of the videos, there were numerous times where Mr. Rosenbaum was armed, correct?
I can recall him carrying a chain at one point.
And to the best of your ability and investigation, that chain came from a trailer in that church?
From the St. James campus area.
And the St. James, we're talking about the rubble and things like that.
Yes.
And that was an area where there's numerous videos of people going and arming themselves with projectiles, rocks, or busted up cement.
Yes.
And that was where Mr. Rosenbaum and Mr. Zeminski got the trailer to bring down Sheridan Road to start the fire, correct?
Correct.
And that's where Mr. Zeminski and Mr. Rosenbaum are bent over, starting the clump of debris and things like that in the road on fire with the trailer up on its side.
Yes.
And that's where Mr. Rosenbaum is wearing a blue mask, correct?
Correct.
And that's what would commonly be referred to as a baklava or a shield that goes from his neck to down to his shoulder area, correct?
Correct.
Not the maroon shirt that he was wearing on his head as a mask when he was shot by my client.
Correct.
Now, as you said, you've been a detective for 3 years. It's against the law to use physical force against a citizen of Kenosha to try and steal their property from them, correct?
Correct.
That would be what's called strong arm robbery.
Correct.
It's a more serious crime if you attempt to do that while you are masked. That's what's called a criminal enhancer, correct?
Correct.
I'm going to back up a little bit to your direct examination. You talked in response to Mr. Binger's questions about the pumps being turned off at gas stations, correct?
Correct.
Now, that isn't something that was publicized or everybody knew, correct?
Correct.
So the crowd and people who were protecting the ultimate gas station didn't necessarily know that the pumps were off.
They may not have. Yeah.
You didn't broadcast it.
Correct.
And you testified about going out in an unmarked squad car on patrol.
Yes, and various things.
For various things. There was not a patrol police presence in the downtown area on the 25th, really, was it?
There was some patrol.
Were anybody walking the beat?
Not walking. No.
Okay. And they were in unmarked squad cars?
We had unmarked and marked squad cars.
In the videos during the evening from, say, 9 o'clock until midnight when this happens, you don't see any police cars on the street, correct?
Well, we tried to surveil from a distance away.
Okay.
Gather as much information without
making yourself public
yes.
or known.
Yes.
And the night before, on the 24th, there was limited or no response by emergency personnel. That's why Car Source 1 burnt to the ground, correct?
We had to prioritize to go to certain calls.
I understand, sir. I'm not trying to second guess anybody. I'm trying to set the scene that evening and the night before. Nobody went to Car Source, what I refer to as 1, the lot that was wiped out, with fire trucks to put it out, correct?
Correct. We were not responding to just property damage at that time.
Now, you interviewed BG on the scene, Breton Gradschweiger, and he was interviewed at the Kenosha Police Department.
Correct.
And in your interview of him, immediately you read him his Miranda rights, correct?
Correct.
And that was because when he was arrested, there was talk of 1, a curfew ticket, correct?
Correct.
And 2, he was found with marijuana.
I actually do not recall the marijuana aspect of that.
You're not disputing that, are you?
I'm not going to dispute it.
Okay. And he gives a statement. There was discussion in that one about downloading his phones and camera.
Correct.
And that was done.
I believe for that he was able to airdrop his video to my work cell phone.
Okay, so he provided you with everything you wanted from his phone,
yes.
And you did not have to get a search warrant, correct?
Correct.
And you leave the interview, and you said on the tape, you call somebody, and you tell Mr. Guttenschweiger when you come back in that you don't have to cite him or arrest him for the marijuana because you spoke to somebody at the DA's office and he can go home that night. Do you remember that?
Not verbatim. No.
Do you remember telling him he got to go home and he wasn't going to be held overnight arrested?
Yes.
Okay. You don't arrest somebody for a curfew violation. You give them a ticket, correct?
Correct. That's a forfeiture.
Right. So there had to be some criminal activity, or when he was done being interviewed, he could have just went home. You can't threaten somebody with arrest when you're interviewing.
He was located past curfew, and taken into custody and brought into the police department. And that's what started my interview with him.
And when he was arrested, he had marijuana in his person, correct?
Correct.
You have no ability to make promises or give consideration for cooperation, correct?
We wanted the video more than to cite him for curfew or marijuana.
Okay. Who did you get permission from to not charge him with the marijuana?
I don't recall getting permission. That may have been a decision that Detective Answering and I made.
Okay.
I don't recall getting permission for that. That may have been a decision that Detective Answering and I made.
And you, that evening, are made lead detective along with Detective Antarami on this case.
Yes.
And you receive information that your person who has not been identified yet has turned himself into the Antioch Police Department.
Correct.
And you and Detective Antarami, go down to Antioch, Illinois.
Correct.
You talked to the people who are there about when he got there, correct?
Correct.
And that was at approximately 1:20 a.m., correct?
Correct.
So that would have been 1 hour and 30 minutes from the time of the shooting.
Correct.
And you get down there at what time?
At approximately 3:30.
Okay, so he'd been there for a little over 2 hours, 2 hours and 10 minutes when you get there, correct?
Correct.
And was he in handcuffs?
No.
Was he locked up in a holding cell?
No.
He was sitting in the unlocked lobby of the Antioch Police Department with his mother waiting for you.
Yes.
The Antioch Police didn't have somebody sitting on him?
I don't know.
You walked in there and there wasn't a police officer sitting next to him, was there?
I do not recall that.
And you documented the injuries on Kyle?
Yes.
And I guess what the state is getting at is the injuries weren't serious, so he shouldn't have shot. Fair?
Fair.
Okay. When you're being kicked in the head, you don't know what's going to happen to you. Is that a fair statement?
Fair.
Okay. When somebody's hitting you in the back of the head the second time with a skateboard, you don't know what's happening to you, correct?
Correct.
When somebody puts their bare hand on your firearm, trying to take it away from your person, you don't know whether or not that person is going to get your gun and turn it and use it on you, correct?
You don't know. No. Correct.
And it's a general training principle. You don't give up your gun because it's a deadly and dangerous weapon. Correct?
I'm going to object to this line here. This is not an expert witness, and that this last question is about training for police officers, which is not relevant.
Rephrase your question.
Sir, if a weapon is taken from somebody, it can be used against them as a deadly and dangerous weapon, correct?
Correct.
Now, you looked at, let's see, Exhibit 18, and the prosecutor showed you 1 hour and 25 minutes into it at approximately 10 seconds. I'll get it up on the screen. One 25:10. This one doesn't.
It's not on yet.
Yeah. I'm gonna put this back where I got it for me, because otherwise I'll lose it. Take it like I do it on my own. It's on? Yeah.
Like what conversation they're having. Y'all trying to burn shit down for what? We all gotta live here. Ain't nobody worried about you or your shit.
Thanks, guys.
Back away from the business.
I can't see the time on. A minute and 1 hour, 24 minutes and 30 seconds from the back end.
Progressions. Organized.
I'll see if I can do it this way. You remember in the video when the dumpster's out in the street and Kyle goes out and grabs the dumpster?
Yes.
Okay, and when Kyle pulls the dumpster back, the person who's filming takes the camera and shows an individual standing in the street staring at my client in the dumpster, correct?
I would like to see the video again, just to be sure.
Found it. It's not on the screen. Okay. Ready?
One of the guys losing his patience. He should go inside.
Yeah, that's what we're about to send him.
Yeah, if you guys could switch him out. Just that somebody's loose cannon. He's got a lot of rage. He says.
Showing you the rundown live. Exhibit number 18. 1:23:55 into the video. Standing right here, who is this?
That is Kelly Zeminski.
Okay, please continue.
Protect your property. They're respecting that. Just keep it there.
We're not handling. Fuck the police. Let's go.
Forum is Zeminski. Go back 40 seconds. Go ahead.
Gonna be on the street. They're just protecting their property. One of the guys is an asshole.
I know. I thought they were yelling at them. I was like, why?
Oh, no,
These guys were.
Oh, we did because they lit it on
One
fire.
of the guys losing his patience.
You know who this is right here? I'm pointing with the pointer.
I believe that's Joshua Zeminski.
Okay. This is the dumpster right here.
If that's the dumpster you're referring to, yes.
Right. Continue on.
Yeah, if you guys could switch him on, because somebody's got loose cannon. He's got a lot of rage. He said the wrong thing. This whole property, you guys alive. Protect your property. They're respecting that. Just keep it there.
We're not handling.
He's just trying to protect his property. He doesn't want anything. He has no problem with you guys. He just doesn't want anyone to burn down his shit. I can't blame him.
That's Kyle going out to get the dumpster out of the street, correct?
Correct.
That dumpster came from Car Source 2's lot, correct?
I don't know that.
Okay, continue on.
Understand. Hey, your job isn't to be in the street. You guys stay in your...
That's him pulling a dumpster out of the street.
Correct.
Continue on.
Property. That's why you got problems already with people.
Stop. Who's this?
That's Joshua Zeminski.
He's standing in front of Car Source 3, looking directly at Car Source 3, correct?
Correct.
In the direction of the dumpster being brought back by my client.
He's looking more towards the videographer.
Okay.
I think Mr.
Right to
Rittenhouse
his
is...
right would be where the dumpster is, correct?
Correct.
And he stands there, and we know that he's armed, correct?
Correct.
And in viewing all the videos that you viewed, putting out fires upset these individuals who were starting the fires. Is that a fair statement?
That's fair.
Exhibit 8, please. On direct examination, you were asked questions about non-lethal, correct?
Correct.
And that was in response to my client saying the statement about they didn't have any non-lethal, correct?
Correct.
And that non-lethal also doesn't mean nightsticks, OC spray, and things like that. There are what are considered non-lethal bullets.
Can you say that again?
There are bullets that are meant to kill, dismember, maim, correct?
Correct.
There are also bullets that go in firearms that are what are referred to as non-lethal.
Yeah, rubber bullets?
Yes.
Could be one of those projectiles, yes.
And as far as you know, none of the people out there that evening, like my client who were protecting property and themselves, were armed with non-lethal bullets, correct?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. The reg incognito video at approximately 3:58 p.m. 3:58 into the video, excuse me. Three hours 55 seconds. $3:59.
Oh.
It's back. No, I have 3:59.50. That's what I wrote down.
And this is 3:59.
Then try 3:58. I'm sorry.
So the white dude I was just talking to, or whatever he is right here, he just got his phone slapped. He got his phone slapped at him and socked at the same time. This dude right here, walking away. This dude right here got his phone slapped and blindsided.
Stop. Just hear that yell 3 times, friendly, friendly, friendly?
Yes.
Based upon your investigation, who is that?
That appears to be Mr. Rittenhouse.
Okay. And that's when he's being chased by Mr. Rosenbaum.
I don't know if it's right before the chase, but approximately the start of the chase time is when that audio appears to come out.
Okay, and that would be something to say to someone, I don't have a beef with you, friendly.
Yes.
And that didn't dissuade Mr. Rosenbaum, based upon your investigation and viewing of the videos, from continue to attempt to attack my client, correct?
Correct.
And as my client is running from Mr. Rosenbaum, is he gaining ground on Mr. Rosenbaum, or is Mr. Rosenbaum gaining ground on him?
Looks like Mr. Rosenbaum is gradually gaining ground on Mr. Rittenhouse.
And Mr. Rosenbaum is running towards my client, and my client turns around and points the gun in his direction. Does not level it at him, but makes it very clear that he's armed to Mr. Rosenbaum, correct?
Correct.
And Mr. Rosenbaum is not dissuaded by that firearm and continues to chase after my client.
He stops briefly and then continues to run again.
He doesn't stop like I'm standing here and say, contemplating life's realities, like maybe I should pick a better course of action. He slows his gait and then continues on after Kyle, correct?
Correct.
And Kyle runs, I'm terrible with my directions, in a southwesterly direction through the car source, correct?
Correct.
And you've seen the Lucas Zanin video, correct?
Correct.
And even in this video, you hear like a bang, bang, bang repeatedly, correct?
Correct.
And based upon your investigation, what is that?
Those are bats or other blunt objects hitting cars in the car source lot.
And in the Lucas Zanin video, which is a little over 7 minutes, that's taken from the 63rd, looking in a northeasterly direction into the car source.
Yes, mainly north.
Okay, and there's well more than 50 people there bashing car windows, jumping on cars, and starting a fire there.
So I'd say there's more than 50 people there, but it might be a little less than that with people that are actually doing property damage, because there are a lot of people that are standing around.
Because there probably weren't enough cars for everybody to beat on. Is that a fair statement?
I'm going to object. That's argumentative.
I don't think it's argumentative.
The objection's overruled.
There were only so many cars, correct?
There's a certain number of cars in the car source lot, correct?
And back when Car Source was a running business, those weren't junk cars. They were real cars of somebody's property, correct?
They were cars for sale.
And correct me if I'm wrong, did you ever hear any of these rioters give an explanation for why destroying somebody's property is going to make their situation or Mr. Blake's situation better?
I'm going to object. It calls for hearsay.
Well, one of the exceptions to the hearsay rule is a plan or a statement of intent. So the objection's overruled.
I've not heard a reason.
Now, the video of Car Source that's shown from the FBI fixed-wing aircraft, that's at 9,000 feet, correct?
I can't recall the exact. I think you said 8,500.
89?
Yeah.
I mean,
high.
Okay.
Yes.
You and I will agree on that. And
Yes.
you could see this bag clear as day flying through it, correct? Flying through the air.
The plastic bag?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And there was also, we're right here. That's the video we're talking about. And here's the pointer. Excuse me. This right here, I'm pointing in the lower right-hand corner of the television. There's a number, 8,941 feet, correct?
Yes, it was in between our I said 8,500. You said 9,000.
Okay, so, and here is the latitude, longitude.
Yes.
And this cursor, according to your information, is what controls the camera. Where they put that cursor, the camera locks onto that, and the plane keeps moving, correct?
That's what it appears to. That appears to control the direction of the camera.
Here,
Yes.
we have a heat.
We have
a heat
source.
Heat source,
We see some white there. Yes.
which would mean hot.
Yes.
And here, in the car, which I'll refer to as the Duramax, at the northeast corner of car source, we also have a heat source.
Yes.
And there's a video of an individual right before my client gets there, starting that Duramax on fire.
Yes.
Do you have our video? This exhibit is what number? No, this exhibit, that's up. This exhibit 9, the FBI video from a distance, correct?
Yes.
You've looked at this on numerous occasions.
Yes.
And probably the best way to find somebody on this video is to go backwards. So we know where the shooting was, correct?
Yes.
And so you follow it backwards. That's how you identify Kyle. That's how you identify Mr. Rosenbaum, correct?
That and relating it to other videos.
Exactly.
Yes.
And in this video, you're able to get Mr. and Mrs. Zeminski also, correct?
Yes.
Could I have our exhibit, please? In our video, there is a green for Kelly Zeminski, there's a red, and we'll roll this, and a white. Go ahead, please. Stop. This blue circle between what I would say the second and third row of cars, Mr. Rosenbaum, correct?
Correct.
This red is Mr. Zeminski, green Mrs.
Yes.
White Kyle.
Yes.
And Richie McGinnis is to the left of the television screen, correct?
To the right.
In pink.
To the right of the television screen.
To the right. Sorry. Roll it, please. Stop. As Kyle, the white circle, comes to the Duramax, this individual, Mr. Rosenbaum, begins to come out of his hiding place.
Yes, he comes around the vehicle at that time.
And he's masked.
Yes.
And he comes around, roll. Stop. Blue, again, Mr. Rosenbaum, correct?
Correct.
And now you begin with the chase. Mr. Rosenbaum of Kyle Rittenhouse, correct?
Correct.
Stop, not yet. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this looks like a classic ambush.
I'm going to object as to the calling for the defendant's interpretation of things. The jury can make their own decision as to what the...
Sustained.
Okay. Mr. Rosenbaum is in hiding as my client arrives, correct?
It appears so, yes.
My client gets to this side of the Duramax, which would be the far side from Mr. Rosenbaum, correct?
Can you repeat that, please?
My client comes to the far side of the Duramax from Mr. Rosenbaum.
On the opposite
correct?
side of Mr. Rosenbaum, yes.
And his circle, my client is stationary, and his circle is closing on my client's circle, Mr. Rittenhouse, correct?
Correct.
And according to this video, which we don't have sound because it's from 9,000 feet, this is right about the time where Kyle yells, "Friendly, friendly."
Friendly, friendly, friendly.
Yes.
Yes.
And it does not dissuade Mr. Rosenbaum, correct?
Correct.
Roll the tape. Stop. Kyle goes out into the road, goes back into the car source lot with him, meaning Mr. Rosenbaum, following, correct?
Correct.
Where's Mr. Zeminski in this?
He's on the sidewalk. It's going to be just north of the blue circle, and that's going to be going right, from left to right on that screen. No, the other direction. To the right of the blue circle on that screen.
Okay, so right here?
No, to the right of the blue
Right
circle,
here?
yes.
Exactly. I mean, almost directly behind Kyle to the side of Mr. Rosenbaum.
Yes.
Okay, roll. Stop. This is Mr. McGinnis. I'm
Yes.
pointing. This is Mr. and Mrs. Zeminski.
Yes.
She's very identifiable because she's got a big backpack on her back.
Yes.
Continue. Stop. This does not depict the shot, correct?
I think this appears to be just before.
Okay. Continue. You don't see the flash of Mr. Zeminski's gun in the thermal, correct?
I did not see it, no.
Okay. But we know from other videos there's one a sound and two a flash.
Yes, in multiple videos, yes.
Mr. Zeminski didn't come forward and complain about my client's behavior that day, correct?
Correct.
He didn't come forward and complain and say that I had to shoot him to scare him or something like that, correct?
He did not come forward, correct.
And after my client shoots Joseph Rosenbaum 3 times in 76 hundredths of a, 4 times, 4 shots in 76 hundredths of a second, the Zeminskis, when that shooting is going on, they don't run away, they don't hide.
It was 76 tenths of a second.
76 tenths.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for correcting me. The Zeminskis don't run away and hide. They're not afraid of the gunshots, correct?
Correct.
And they stay right there and they start yelling. Mr. Zeminski still has his gun out. And Mrs. Zeminski starts yelling about get him, things like that about Kyle, correct?
Correct.
The mob is closing in on Kyle.
There are multiple people closing in on Kyle.
Okay.
Mr. Rittenhouse.
And that's, I apologize, Mr. Rittenhouse. And that's closing in on him at the car source parking lot, correct?
It appears that at the car source that people are coming towards Mr. Rosenbaum. And yes, there's people that are shouting in the direction of Mr. Rittenhouse. I'd say it's more clear once he starts running northbound that there are people following him.
Okay. But strike that. And you did the reconstruction with a stopwatch. You didn't do it a frame by frame.
Correct.
And at 1 minute into the Drew Hernandez video, which is number exhibit 19, you hear somebody yell at Kyle, "Get the fuck out of here," correct?
I don't recall hearing that.
Could it? I've got it at 1-0. 50 seconds. Please listen closely.
Put pressure on it. Put fucking pressure on it.
Where, dude? Where?
No. And Kyle then is running down Sheridan Road in a northerly direction.
Correct.
He, in all the videos you see, he doesn't point his firearm at anybody, correct?
At certain times, he points his firearms
Okay.
at people.
I asked a terrible question. It's late in the day. I apologize. As he's running down Sheridan Road in a northerly direction before event number 2, which is the shooting of the unidentified individual, Huber and Groskwitz, you don't see him pointing the gun, doing any of this, menacing with the firearm to people around him, correct?
I believe there was just a slight raise when he was still on that west sidewalk of Sheridan Road, and it seemed like something west of him on 62nd Street caught his attention. I remember he turned to his left. There may have been a slight raise of the rifle at that point.
Didn't fire?
No, not at that point.
Gage Groskwitz runs up on him?
Later on, yes.
As he's going down Sheridan Road. I mean, from the time Mr. Rosenbaum chases him till the time he turns himself into the police, or attempts to turn himself into the police at 60th and Sheridan Road, we're talking about less than 4 minutes, correct?
Yes.
He heads down Sheridan Road in a northerly direction. There might have been a slight raise. Something caught his attention to his left.
Yes.
Okay, does not fire.
Correct.
Heads down the road. Gage Groskwitz, with his cell phone, gets right up in Kyle's face, correct?
Yes.
And says, "What are you doing? Did you just shoot that guy?"
I'm going to object, Your Honor. It calls for hearsay.
It doesn't make an assertion. It asks a question. Hearsay is an assertion. But
You hear that question, correct?
Yes.
And my client says he's going to the police.
Objection, Your Honor. That is hearsay.
It's a statement of a party opponent for completeness.
It's not a statement
He
of
put.
wait,
the defendant.
wait. Now, what was the question again?
What was my client's response to Mr. Groskwitz? Mr.
Stop.
Okay.
And what was your objection?
Hearsay. The defense can't introduce the defendant's own statements.
It's not a statement of a party opponent.
He went into it under the doctrine of completeness. I said 2 grounds. I'll go with completeness, Your Honor. He went into the statement.
I'm so sorry. Judge, you said something. I'm say the date.
Okay. How much more do you have, by the way?
Page, which doesn't mean
A page means nothing.
10 minutes. Let's say 10 minutes. Judge.
A page with a lawyer could be very long.
I write very small.
You know what? Maybe it would be prudent to stop now. You just mentioned about late in the day, and this reporter is heroic, and the jurors are too. So we wouldn't finish before 5 anyway, considering. So let's break for the evening, and please don't talk about the case. Read, watch, or listen to any account of the trial. Very rigid enforcement of the rules.
Wait for Becky to go?
Yeah, but you're not going anywhere. Just sit tight for a few minutes. You can step down. Return tomorrow morning, please. Is Scott Wilson in the room? Scott Wilson. Okay. Is there anything else from the lawyers before we leave?
No, not by us, Your
We
Honor.
need to resolve that objection, Your Honor.
Yeah, maybe I'm going to ask you guys to stick around. Ask the clerk to come down, deal with the. I'm going to excuse everybody else. Well, that's not going to work because they want to cover the argument. But that can be. she can deal with the jurors and the. Tell her to go up to the third floor. Why don't you go up to the third floor and we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, thanks. They're going up to the jury room. Okay, bye. Laura's gonna come down and go up there.
Oh. Why don't you take them up on the elevator? Pardon me? Yeah, escort them out. Deputy to escort the jurors, 2 jurors, to the 3rd floor so they can be with the other jurors. Where are they now? Are they in the back here? Okay. Yeah.